The first verified layer is not a damage scan, it is a map, and it contradicts the sequence implied by the phrase Palmyra after destruction. The evidence supplied here does not begin with destruction at all. It places modern Palmyra in central Syria, inside the Homs Governorate, and places the ruins of ancient Palmyra roughly 500 meters southwest of the modern city center. That distinction immediately changes the investigation. Palmyra is not one undifferentiated object. There is a living city, an archaeological site, and a surrounding landscape. A record that fails to identify which one it describes could misplace damage, confuse modern and ancient structures, or attach evidence to the wrong location. So the first concrete answer is also a warning. Documenting Palmyra requires spatial separation before interpretation. And according to the available source pack, that is where certainty ends much sooner than the title suggests. The ruins are identified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The modern city lies in an oasis in the Syrian desert, about 215 kilometers northeast of Damascus and 180 kilometers southwest of the Euphrates River. Nearby places include Arak to the east, Al-Sukhna farther northeast, Tiyas to the west, and Al-Qaryatayn to the southwest. These are not decorative map details. They establish the geographic frame within which any photograph, satellite image, field report, or damage claim would have to be tested. A convincing record must connect an observation to a specific place. Yet the supplied evidence names no damaged monument, gives no date of destruction at Palmyra, identifies no documentation campaign there, and describes no survey result. The original promise therefore narrows. We can reconstruct what the evidence chain would have to prove, but we cannot honestly claim that this pack proves the chain was completed. That limitation exposes the hidden system behind heritage documentation. A powerful image of broken stone is not, by itself, a complete archaeological record. To support a conclusion, the image would need a verified location, a reliable date, a clear subject, and some basis for comparison. The spatial facts supplied for Palmyra solve only part of that problem. They tell us where the modern settlement and ancient ruins sit relative to each other. They do not tell us when a particular feature changed, what caused that change, or who recorded it. Nor do they establish whether a surviving digital model, photograph set, or architectural survey exists. Those possibilities may be plausible in the wider world, but plausibility is not evidence in this episode. The hidden constraint is provenance. Every record must preserve where it came from and what it actually shows. A first attempt at telling this story might begin with the word destruction, collect dramatic visuals, and then describe them as documentation. That approach would be fast, vivid, and methodologically weak. Without a verified link between an image and the ancient ruins southwest of the modern center, even an authentic picture from Palmyra could be assigned to the wrong part of the city. Without a dated earlier record, visible damage could not automatically be placed in a sequence. And without a source identifying the damaged structure, narration could accidentally merge separate buildings into a fictional composite. The same problem applies to search terms such as UNESCO, Syria, Palmyra, or cultural heritage. They identify a subject area, not a chain of proof. Documentation begins only when separate observations can be connected without silently filling the gaps. The turning point comes from the second supplied source, but not in the way we might expect. It concerns cultural heritage during the 2024 Israeli invasion of Lebanon, not Palmyra. Its excerpt says that organizations such as Heritage for Peace began documenting destruction caused by that invasion. This establishes one limited point. Heritage destruction can prompt organized documentation. It does not establish that the same organization documented Palmyra, that the same methods were used in Syria, or that conclusions from Lebanon transfer to this site. The geographic and historical contexts are different, and the excerpt is incomplete. Treating that example as direct evidence for Palmyra would create the very missing link an evidence-based account must reject. The turning point, then, is recognizing that related evidence is not site evidence. Once that distinction is clear, the mechanism can be explained precisely. Site documentation works as a chain of constrained statements. First comes identity. Which city, ruin, monument, or feature is being described? Next comes position. Where is it relative to fixed geography? Then chronology. When was the observation made, and what earlier observation permits comparison? After that comes condition. What physical change is actually visible or measured? Finally comes interpretation. Does the evidence support destruction, deterioration, repair, displacement, or only an unresolved difference? For Palmyra, the source pack securely supports identity and broad position. It identifies the modern city, the ancient ruins, their approximate separation, the oasis setting, and regional distances. It does not supply the chronological comparison or condition assessment needed to document a post-destruction state. That absence is not a technicality. It determines which conclusions are possible. The consequence of skipping those stages is larger than a mistaken caption. If modern Palmyra and the ancient ruins are treated as the same footprint, a report could convert damage to an ordinary urban structure into damage to the World Heritage Site, or overlook harm to the archaeological zone because the evidence was filed under the modern city. If a later image is presented without an earlier baseline, natural weathering, restoration, previous damage, and recent destruction could become indistinguishable in narration. None of those errors is demonstrated in the supplied evidence, but each follows from the documented spatial separation and the missing chronology. The cost is a false historical record, one that may look precise while preserving no reliable relationship between place, time, and condition. In archaeology, an unsupported certainty can be harder to correct than an openly marked blank. There is also an important counterpoint. Absence from this source pack is not proof that documentation does not exist. It means only that no Palmyra-specific documentation program, method, result, or current status appears in the supplied excerpts. Researchers may possess records not included here. Institutions may have issued reports beyond this evidence, but naming hypothetical scans, databases, drones, three-dimensional models, restoration plans, or completed assessments would turn possibility into invented fact. Even the episode's central phrase, "after destruction," remains under-supported here because the pack provides no Palmyra-specific event, date, affected structure, or before and after comparison. The responsible position is therefore neither denial nor assertion. It is bounded uncertainty. The geographic foundation is established, while the destruction and documentation sequence is unverified by the material provided. What can be said about the outcome today? Only a narrow current description survives scrutiny. Palmyra is a modern city in central Syria, located in an oasis and administratively part of the Homs Governorate. The ruins of ancient Palmyra are about 500 meters southwest of its center and are identified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The supplied material offers regional distances and nearby localities that help anchor the site geographically. It does not provide a present condition report for the ruins. It does not say which remains survive, which were damaged, what has been recorded, who maintains the record, or whether any reconstruction has been approved or completed. So the documented outcome is not a digital resurrection of Palmyra. It is a sharply defined boundary between verified location and unsupported status. That boundary changes our understanding of the title's question. The decisive mechanism is not a particular camera, scan, or computer model supported by this pack. It is the evidence chain that any such tool must enter, distinguish the modern city from the ancient site, anchor every observation geographically, establish a dated baseline, record a later condition, and label interpretations separately from observation. Here, only the first part of that chain is documented. The Lebanon example shows that organized heritage documentation can follow destruction, but it cannot be used as proof of what happened at Palmyra. The honest conclusion is consequential precisely because it is limited. This evidence can locate Palmyra and define the archaeological target, but it cannot establish how that target has been documented after destruction. Until Palmyra-specific records supply the missing dates, methods, comparisons, and results, the blank spaces must remain blank. Visual reconstructions are illustrative. Facts and interpretations are based on the sources listed in the description.